What if I told you that the people who once underestimated you are now secretly trying to figure out what happened to you? Chosen one, there is a reason your presence feels different. There is a reason. The same people who doubted you have become quiet, and the same people who tried to hold you back can no longer stand in your way. They thought the pressure would break you. They thought the betrayal would weaken you. They thought the hardships would make you give up. But Allah had a different plan. Every struggle made you stronger. Every setback brought you closer to Him. And every battle shaped you into someone they can no longer control. What scares your enemies is not your success, your talent, or your achievements. What scares them is that you survived everything they thought would destroy you and came back stronger than ever. In today's message, we will uncover 6 powerful lessons that explain why your haters are running away, why Allah has been preparing you in secret, and why the impossible thing you have done is only the beginning of what is coming next. Stay with me until the end, because lesson number 6 could completely change the way you see journey. Lesson 1. You became dangerous. When you stopped seeking validation from people. One of the greatest prisons in life is the need to be accepted by everyone. Many chosen ones spend years trying to prove themselves, explain their intentions, and earn respect from people who have already decided to misunderstand them. No matter what they do, it never seems enough, but Allah allows seasons of rejection for a reason. Through those painful moments, He teaches you that your worth does not come from human approval, but from Him alone. The day you stopped worrying about what everyone thought of you was the day you became difficult to control. People can manipulate someone who constantly needs validation, but they struggle against someone whose confidence comes from faith. You no longer waste your energy trying to convince people of your value, because you know Allah already sees your heart, your sacrifices, and your struggles. That confidence is not arrogance or pride. It is the peace that comes from trusting Allah. And when you stop seeking acceptance from people and start seeking acceptance from Allah, everything changes. You become stronger, calmer, and more focused on your purpose. And suddenly the same people who once ignored or criticized, you can no longer understand how you became so unshakable. Lesson 2. Your pain created a strength they never expected. Most people thought your struggles would break you. They saw the betrayal, the rejection, the disappointments, and the battles you faced, and they assumed you would eventually give up. But what they did not understand was that Allah was using every hardship to build something stronger inside you. Every tear taught you patience, every setback taught you wisdom, and every difficult season pushed you closer to Allah. While others expected your pain to destroy you, Allah used it to strengthen your faith and character. That is why the people who once doubted you are now confused. They see someone standing who should have been broken, someone moving forward who should have quit, and someone growing stronger after every storm. They only saw your suffering, but they never saw the work Allah was doing behind the scenes. What was meant to weaken you became the very thing that made you powerful, and that strength is something your haters never expected to see. Lesson 3. Your silence became more powerful than their attacks. There was a time when every insult bothered you, every false accusation demanded a response, and every act of disrespect felt like something you needed to fight against. You may have spent countless hours defending yourself, explaining your intentions, and trying to make people see the truth. But as Allah continued to mature you through life's challenges, He taught you a powerful lesson. Not every battle deserves your attention, and not every person deserves an explanation. You began to realize that many people were not looking for understanding. They were looking for a reaction. They wanted your anger, your frustration, and your energy because that gave them a sense of control over you. But the moment you stopped reacting, everything changed. Instead of arguing, you chose peace. Instead of chasing people to correct every misunderstanding, you trusted Allah to handle what you could not. Instead of allowing negativity to consume your thoughts, you focused on your purpose, your growth, and your relationship with Allah. This confused many people because they were expecting the old version of you, the version that would become emotional, defensive, and distracted. But now they are facing someone different. They throw negativity your way, and you keep moving forward. They criticize you, and you remain focused. They try to provoke you, and you refuse to leave your path. What they fail to understand is that silence is not weakness. Sometimes silence is one of the greatest signs of strength. It takes far more power to control your emotions than to lose control of them. It takes wisdom to walk away from unnecessary conflict and trust that Allah sees everything. Your silence became powerful because it showed that your peace is more valuable than winning arguments, and that your purpose is more important than proving yourself to people who have already chosen not to understand you. That is why some of your haters have become frustrated and uncomfortable. They can no longer pull you into the drama they created. They can no longer distract you from your mission. They can no longer access the version of you that was easy to provoke. And when people realize they can no longer control your emotions, they often begin to lose their power over your life. That is, the strength Allah has been building within you all along. A strength that remains calm, under pressure, focused during chaos, and firmly rooted in faith no matter what comes against it. Lesson 4. Allah removed the fear that once held you back. Fear is one of the greatest weapons used against people. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of losing everything, fear of being judged, and fear of stepping into the unknown have stopped countless people from becoming who Allah created them to be. But one of the most powerful things Allah does in the life of a chosen one is slowly remove that fear through trials, challenges, and experiences that force them to trust Him completely. At first, you may have been afraid of speaking up, afraid of taking risks, afraid of moving forward after disappointment, and afraid of what people might think. But after everything you have survived, something inside you began to change. You started realizing that Allah had carried you through situations that once seemed impossible. The problems that kept you awake at night eventually passed. The battles you thought would destroy you eventually ended. The doors that closed were replaced by better opportunities. Through every hardship, Allah was teaching you that He is greater than your fears. We can see this clearly in the life of Prophet Musa, peace be upon him. When he stood before the sea, with Fir'aun and his army rapidly approaching behind him, the people around him were overwhelmed with fear and believed there was no escape. From a human perspective, they were trapped. Yet Allah commanded Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, to trust Him, and the sea was miraculously parted, creating a path where no path existed before. The lesson was clear. When Allah is with you, what looks impossible to people is easy for Him. We see the same courage in Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, during the migration from Mecca to Medina. When he and Abu Bakr were hiding in the cave and enemies were searching for them, the situation seemed extremely dangerous. Yet Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, remained calm and reminded his companion that Allah was with them. That trust turned fear into strength and uncertainty into confidence. Chosen one, Allah may not remove your fears all at once, but He will place you in situations that teach you not to be controlled by them. Every challenge you overcome becomes evidence that Allah is protecting you. Every storm you survive becomes proof that His plan is greater than your worries. That is why many people no longer recognize you. The person who once hesitated now moves with confidence. The person who once doubted now walks with faith. The person who once feared the opinions of others now focuses on pleasing Allah above all else. Your enemies thought fear would stop you, but Allah used every battle to make you stronger. He transformed your fear into faith, your uncertainty into trust, and your weakness into courage. And when a chosen one truly learns to trust Allah more than their fears, they become capable of accomplishing things that once seemed impossible. Lesson 5. Your success exposed people's true intentions. One of the most surprising lessons a chosen one learns is that success does not just change your life, it reveals the hearts of the people around you. Many people believe that their biggest challenge will come while they are struggling, but often the greater test begins when Allah starts lifting them higher. During your difficult seasons, many people felt comfortable around you. When you were fighting battles, facing setbacks, and walking through uncertainty, they did not see you as a threat. Some even enjoyed watching you struggle because it made them feel superior. Others offered support only because they never expected you to rise. But the moment Allah began answering your prayers, opening doors, increasing your wisdom, strengthening your faith, and elevating your position, something started to change. Suddenly, people who never paid attention to you began watching your every move. People who once ignored your presence became curious about your success. People who doubted your future started asking questions about how far you were going. And sadly, some people who smiled in front of you began feeling uncomfortable behind your back. This is because success has a way of exposing what was always hidden inside the heart. When Allah blesses one person, it often reveals whether others are operating from love, sincerity, gratitude, jealousy, insecurity, or pride. The people who genuinely care about you celebrate your growth because your success does not threaten them. They understand that Allah's blessings are unlimited. They know that what Allah has written for you cannot take away what He has written for them. These people become happy when they see you winning because their hearts are clean. But others respond differently. Instead of celebrating your progress, they begin comparing their life to yours. Instead of being inspired by your growth, they become bothered by it. Instead of thanking Allah for their own blessings, they focus on what Allah has given you. This is why some relationships become strained when a chosen one begins rising. The issue is not your success itself. The issue is what your success reveals inside others. Throughout history, we can see this pattern repeated again and again. Consider the story of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him. Before his rise to power, he faced betrayal from the very people who should have loved him most, his own brothers. Their jealousy did not begin when he became a leader in Egypt. It began when they noticed the special favor and love surrounding him. Instead of celebrating him, they allowed envy to grow in their hearts. They threw him into a well and believed they had ended his future. But what they failed to understand was that no human being can stop what Allah has already written. Years later, the same Yusuf, peace be upon him, they tried to destroy, stood in a position of honor, influence, and authority. His success exposed the truth. It revealed the jealousy that had lived inside their hearts and demonstrated the power of Allah's plan over human schemes. Chosen one, many people may not openly admit it, but your growth forces them to confront their own choices. When they see your discipline, they are reminded of the opportunities they wasted. When they see your faith, they are reminded of the times as they doubted Allah. When they see your persistence, they are reminded of the moments they gave up. Your success becomes a mirror, and not everyone likes what they see when they look into that mirror. This is why some people who once supported you suddenly become distant. It is why some people stop celebrating your victories. It is why certain individuals seem uncomfortable whenever your name is mentioned. They are not necessarily angry at what you have accomplished. They are struggling with what your accomplishments reveal about themselves. Yet Allah often allows this process because He wants to show you who truly belongs in your life. During times of struggle, it is difficult to know who is genuine because everyone can appear supportive when there is little to gain or lose. But when blessings begin to arrive, masks start falling off. The people who genuinely love you remain by your side. The people who secretly hoped you would stay small begin drifting away. The people who only supported you when you were weak become uncomfortable when they can no longer feel superior. And while this can be painful, it is also a gift from Allah. Why? Because clarity is a blessing. Knowing where people truly stand allows you to stop investing energy into relationships that were never built on sincerity. It allows you to focus on the people who genuinely want the best for you. It allows you to move forward without constantly wondering who is for you and who is against you. Another powerful example can be found in the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Before receiving revelation, he was known as Al-Amin, the trustworthy one. People respected his honesty and character. But when Allah elevated him with the responsibility of prophethood, many of those same people turned against him. Why? Did his character suddenly change? No. What changed was that Allah's favor upon him exposed the pride, arrogance, and resistance that existed within the hearts of those who refused to accept the truth. His elevation revealed their intentions. In the same way, your growth may reveal things about people that you never expected to see. Some will surprise you with their loyalty. Others will surprise you with their jealousy. Some will encourage you to keep going. Others will quietly hope for your failure. But remember this, your responsibility is not to manage people's reactions. Your responsibility is to remain faithful to Allah. If Allah blesses you with success, remain humble. If Allah opens doors for you, remain grateful. If Allah elevates you, remember that every blessing comes from Him. One of the greatest mistakes a chosen one can make is allowing success to create pride. The goal is not to become arrogant because others doubted you. The goal is to become more thankful because Allah carried you through seasons that should have broken you. Never forget where your strength comes from. Never forget the nights when you prayed for relief. Never forget the moments when you felt lost and Allah guided you. Never forget the doors He opened when no one else could help you. Because the same Allah who raises people can also test them through the blessings He provides. That is why true success is not measured by money, influence, recognition, or status. True success is remaining close to Allah while receiving those blessings. True success is maintaining your character when opportunities increase. True success is staying humble when others praise you and staying faithful when others criticize you. Chosen one, if you feel like certain people have changed toward you recently, do not be discouraged. Sometimes Allah is simply revealing what was already there. Sometimes He is showing you who celebrates your growth and who resents it. Sometimes He is removing people who cannot accompany you into your next season. Trust the process. Trust Allah's wisdom. The same people who questioned your journey may one day witness the results of your perseverance. The same people who underestimated your potential may eventually realize that Allah was working in your life all along. And when that moment comes, do not focus on proving them wrong. Focus on thanking Allah for bringing you this far, because your success was never meant to be a weapon against others. It was meant to be a testimony to the power, mercy, and guidance of Allah. And when you understand that, You stop worrying about who supports you, who doubts you, and who secretly watches from a distance. You simply continue moving forward, trusting the one who wrote your story before anyone else ever had an opinion about it. Lesson 6. You did the impossible because Allah never left you. Perhaps the greatest lesson of all, chosen one, is this: you did not come this far because you were the strongest person in the room, the smartest person in your circle, or the most talented individual in your field. You came this far because Allah never left you. There were moments in your life when everything around you suggested that you should have failed. There were seasons when the pressure was so heavy that you wondered how much more you could carry. There were nights when nobody knew what was happening inside your heart. You smiled in front of people while fighting silent battles behind closed doors. You carried burdens that others never saw. You faced disappointments that nobody understood. You experienced betrayals that changed the way you looked at people. You prayed prayers that seemed unanswered. You waited for breakthroughs that appeared delayed. And yet somehow you are still here. Somehow, despite everything that happened, you are still standing. That alone is evidence of Allah's mercy in your life. Many people see where you are today, but they do not know what it took to get here. They see the strength but not the tears. They see the confidence but not the battles. They see the progress but not the sacrifices. They see the outcome but not the process. What they fail to understand is that every step of your journey contained moments where Allah was carrying you even when you could not feel it. There were times when you thought a closed door was a punishment, only to discover later that it was protection. There were times when you thought a delay was rejection, only to realize it was preparation. There were times when you thought people leaving your life was a loss, only to discover that Allah was removing distractions from your path. Looking back now, you can see how many things had to happen exactly the way they did to bring you to this moment. What felt like chaos was often divine planning. What felt like confusion was often hidden guidance. What felt like abandonment was often Allah teaching you to rely on Him more deeply than ever before. This pattern can be seen throughout the lives of the prophets. Consider Prophet Nuh, peace be upon him. For years he called his people toward Allah, facing rejection, mockery, and disbelief. Imagine the patience required to continue when almost nobody listened. From a human perspective, it may have looked like failure, yet Allah's plan was unfolding even when no visible results appeared. In the end, the same prophet who was mocked became a symbol of unwavering faith and obedience. His story reminds us that success is not determined by how quickly results appear, but by remaining faithful to Allah, regardless of circumstances. Consider also Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, who was thrown into a fire because he refused to abandon the truth. The people around him believed the fire would end his story, but Allah simply commanded the fire to become cool and safe. What was supposed to destroy him became a testimony to Allah's power. Chosen one, how many times has Allah done something similar in your life? Perhaps not through a literal fire, but through situations that should have consumed your peace, destroyed your confidence, or broken your spirit. Yet somehow you survived. Somehow you kept moving forward. Somehow you found strength you did not know you possessed. That strength did not come from nowhere. It came from Allah. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that miracles only happen in dramatic ways. They imagine miracles as extraordinary events that defy the laws of nature. But sometimes the greatest miracle is waking up after a painful season and realizing that what once controlled you no longer has power over you. Sometimes the miracle is surviving a year you never thought you would survive. Sometimes the miracle is finding peace after heartbreak. Sometimes the miracle is maintaining faith when everything around you encourages doubt. Sometimes the miracle is coming stronger through the very experience that was meant to weaken you. You may not realize it, but your life already contains evidence of Allah's miracles. Think about the moments when you had no answers but somehow found a way forward. Think about the times when your resources were limited, but your needs were met. Think about the occasions when you felt completely alone, but unexpected help arrived. Think about the opportunities that appeared when all doors seemed closed. Think about the lessons that emerged from painful experiences. These were not accidents. They were signs of Allah's presence in your journey. Yet one of the most beautiful aspects of Allah's guidance is that He often allows us to walk through challenges before revealing their purpose. At the beginning of the test, we only see the pain. We only see the uncertainty. We only see the struggle. But later, when we look back, we begin connecting the dots. We begin seeing how every setback redirected us towards something better. We begin understanding why certain people had to leave. We begin appreciating why certain plans failed. We begin recognizing that Allah was writing a story greater than anything we could have designed ourselves. This realization changes the way you approach future challenges. Instead of immediately panicking when difficulties arise, you remember all the times Allah helped you before. Instead of assuming the worst, you trust that Allah is still working behind the scenes. Instead of focusing entirely on what you have lost, you remain open to what Allah may be preparing. That is the mindset of a person whose faith has been strengthened through experience. Chosen one, your enemies, critics, and doubters often focus on what they can see. They see your progress, they see your growth, they see your confidence, but they do not see the countless moments when Allah rescued you from situations that could have changed your life forever. They do not see the prayers that protected you from unseen dangers. They do not see the blessings that arrived in forms you did not initially recognize. They do not see the divine mercy that carried you through your darkest hours. And because they do not see those things, they cannot understand how you keep moving forward. They cannot understand why you refuse to quit. They cannot understand why setbacks do not stop you the way they used to. What they are witnessing is not merely personal determination. They are witnessing the result of a person who has repeatedly experienced Allah's help. Every time Allah brought you through a trial, your trust grew stronger. Every time He answered a prayer, your faith deepened. Every time He protected you from harm, your confidence increased. Every time He opened a door, your hope expanded. Slowly, without realizing it, you became someone different. Not because life became easier, but because your connection with Allah became stronger. This is why your journey matters. It is not just about success, recognition, achievement, or proving anyone wrong. It is about becoming the person Allah intended you to become. It is about developing patience during hardship, gratitude during blessings, humility during success, and trust during uncertainty. It is about learning that Allah's presence is more valuable than worldly approval. It is about understanding that true strength comes from reliance upon Him. And perhaps that is the impossible thing you have already accomplished. You survived experiences that should have made you bitter. But you remained hopeful. You endured disappointments that should have destroyed your faith. But you continued believing. You faced rejection that should have shattered your confidence. But you kept moving forward. You encountered obstacles that should have stopped your progress. But you found another way. You did the impossible not because you are extraordinary on your own, but because Allah's mercy carried you further than your own strength ever could. So as you continue your journey, remember this: the same Allah who protected you yesterday is protecting you today. The same Allah who guided you through previous storms, will guide you through future ones. The same Allah who opened doors before can open new ones again. The same Allah who turned your pain into growth can turn your current challenges into future victories. Do not underestimate what Allah can do with a life that remains faithful to Him. Do not underestimate the power of sincere prayer, consistent patience, and unwavering trust. And above all, never forget how far He has already brought you. Because when you look honestly at your story, you will realize something incredible. The greatest proof that Allah is with you is the simple fact that after everything you have been through, you are still standing, still believing, still growing, and still moving forward toward the future He has written for you. Conclusion chosen one. If there is one thing you should remember from today's message, it is this: the reason people can no longer stop you is not because you became stronger than everyone else. It is because Allah made you stronger than the version of yourself that once lived in fear, doubt, and insecurity. You stopped seeking validation from people and started seeking acceptance from Allah. You allowed your pain to teach you instead of destroy you. You learned that silence is often more powerful than arguments. You discovered that faith is greater than fear. You realized that success reveals who is truly happy for you and who was secretly hoping you would stay small. And most importantly, you learned that every battle you survived was proof that Allah never abandoned you. The people who doubted you only saw the struggle, but they never saw the mercy of Allah working behind the scenes. They never saw the prayers that protected you, the lessons that strengthened you, or the doors Allah opened when everything seemed impossible. That is why your journey is powerful. You are living proof that Allah can take a broken heart and give it peace, take a painful past and give it purpose, take rejection and turn it into redirection, and take someone everyone underestimated and raise them higher than anyone expected. So do not let fear return. Do not let doubt steal your confidence. Do not go back to seeking approval from people who never understood your worth. Keep your eyes on Allah. Keep walking with faith. Keep trusting His timing. Because the same Allah who brought you this far is not finished with your story yet. Your greatest victory may still be ahead of you. Your biggest breakthrough may be closer than you think. And the chapter that people said would never happen may already be written by Allah. Stay patient, stay humble, stay grateful, and never forget that when Allah is guiding your path, no enemy is powerful enough to stop what He has already destined for you. If this message touched your heart, type "Allah is my strength" in the comments, and remember, what Allah has planned for you is always greater than what the world tried to take from you.